Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you. Welcome to a brand new week. There was something that I was sitting talking to the Lord about this morning, and it's His goodness. It's how good He wants to be to us, and I, we know it, but we can sometimes forget to actually take hold of it. And in the course that I did last week with my students, Created on Purpose, we talked about the fact that God has so much for us, so much available for us. And I remembered a story that I heard, and it's just I think it was a vision somebody had, but the premise of the story really stuck with me. That this man went to heaven, and an angel takes him to a huge warehouse. I mean, massively huge warehouse. And he opens the door, and there's just rows and rows and rows and rows of shelves and stacks of containers on each shelf. And the angel takes him across to a container that has his name on it. And the man says to him, "What's that?" And he said, "This was all the blessing in God's goodness, His correction, His kindness, His leading, His guidance that was available for you each day." And he looked at the angel. He said, "Really? That's what there is?" And he says, "Yes, you get to say yes to each day, to all of this provision that God has for you each day." And it's so stuck in my head that we get to come to God each day and go, "Thank you so much, Lord, for what you've made available for us." And then we get to ask for it. And I was reminded of this verse this morning in Matthew 7, verse 7 to 8 and 9, that Jesus says. So it's in red, right? So these are the words that Jesus says to us. "Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives. The one who seeks finds. And to the one who knocks, the door will be opened. Which of you, if your son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a snake? If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him?" And I encourage you to read the whole of Matthew 7. There's just such gold in there. But God just reminded me this morning that as our hearts are for, this is not like, "Oh God, give me a Tesla by tomorrow." God is not an ATM. This is not a get rich quick thing. This is not God will give you those things that you just ask Him for like that. But the promise is that as our hearts are in line with His, as we want the things that He wants, as we're humble, as we listen to Him, as we remember that He is God, as we get to go on this invitational adventure with Him each day to say, "Hey, this is what your life looks like today. Will you give me your yes and come on the adventure with me?" As we do that, then everything that's in line with what God has for us, for our purpose, for our lives, He will give each day. This container is full of these things each day. And it's it's not blessing as in material things or things like it, the things that would delight our heart. It's also the things that He knows will shape us and guide us. So recently He's had me in a season of just helping me to see where I'm believing lies, or where I'm acting out of character, or I'm not thinking about things the way He does. And so he's been convicting me a lot lately, pruning me, helping me, shaping me. And it doesn't feel good in the moment. The Bible says it's not going to feel good in the moment, but ultimately the way He's shaping each of our lives just helps us to look more and more like Jesus each day, right? So this box is full of goodies that'll help you to walk today the way that God says in Psalm 139, He's written in your book for today, the things that He wants to walk through with you today, things that He wants to bless you with today. So He reminded me, and this is the invitation He gave to me this morning, and the one I extend to you too, is, will you remember my goodness? Will you remember how much I have in store for you, and that my heart towards you, my thoughts towards you are good? I want you to prosper. Jeremiah 29:11, a verse that a lot of us know so well. That I want my plans for your good, to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you a hope and a future. But will you take hold of it today? Because His nature will never change, regardless of how we act towards it, right? Or whether we engage with Him or not. But He's saying, "Come to me, ask, seek, and knock. Come and ask me for my goodness. Let me show it to you today." So that's your invitation to adventure with Jesus today, is to ask Him for His goodness, to ask, to seek for it, to knock and say, "Lord, will you show me your goodness today? I want the container that's got my name on it for today to be empty by the end of today, because I partnered and took hold of it, received and accepted, and was in awe of all the goodness you had for me today." So, as always, Jesus is inviting you on an adventure to experience his goodness today. Will you accept? Bless you guys.